Hi everyone, and welcome to the 2025 Queensland Health Intern Campaign Information Webinar. It's great to see so many medicine students from across Australia this evening joining us for the first episode in our annual webinar series. My name is Andrea Muller and I'm the Program Manager for the North Queensland Regional Training Hubs. Today I will be the moderator of this webinar. I would like to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land where we live and work and pay our deepest respects to their elders, ancestors and future generations. James Cook University's Northern Queensland Regional Training Hubs is proud to be co-hosting this event with Queensland Health tonight. None of this would have been possible without the Commonwealth Department of Health, who fund the Regional Training Hub program across Australia, as well as the collaboration and support of the Queensland Health Recruitment team and the medical education units and doctors from the hospitals around Queensland. We have an exciting program ahead, which we will begin with Shane Green from Queensland Health's recruitment team, who will update you on the Queensland application process for Group A, B and C students for the intern campaign. After that, you'll hear from each hospital who will present their facilities and explain what you can expect as an intern in each location. The presenters will also be joined by current interns or junior doctors and medical education unit staff who will let you know about the quality training opportunities available throughout Queensland. The final part of the webinar will be an open floor with questions and answers from the audience. At the bottom of the screen, you can see the Q&A icon. Please use this tool to ask questions, which we will put to the panel. The Q&A box can be used at any time during the webinar with Michelle Campbell from Queensland Health and others behind the scenes responding to your queries. All responses will be visible to everyone, but if there are questions that we don't get to, the answers will be available along with the recording, which we will send out early next week. Now, please welcome Shane Green, who's the Principal Policy Officer with the Intern and RMO recruitment team within the Department of Health in Queensland. Hey, Shane, thank you. Oh, we can't hear you. Sorry.
There we go. It's always one, isn't it? Hi, everyone. Thanks, Andrea, and thank you for coordinating this event on behalf of the Department of Health and all the hospital and health services that are participating tonight. We really appreciate it. So as mentioned, my name is Shane Green. I'm going to try and share my screen now. We'll see what my technical capabilities are like. There we go. So it's my job to oversee the intern and RMO recruitment campaigns. And as Andrea mentioned, I'm joined by Michelle Campbell, who is the intern campaign coordinator, who you will regularly deal with over the course of the campaign. So there's a lot to get through. I have set my alarm because I tend to go over, but apparently I will be prompted if I go over because we want to keep the schedule. There's a lot to get through. So what am I going to talk to today? Well, we'll look at some of the outcomes from the intern recruitment campaign, from the 2024 recruitment campaign, I should say. And that might guide how you preference. There we go, share screen. Is that working? Can you see the screen? Yes, okay. That might guide, hopefully, it might give you some insights in terms of how people were preferencing where some of the vacancies are. We'll then look at the intern application process and go through the applicant groups. Some of the key dates for intern recruitment, some of the mandatory documentation that you'll be required to upload as part of the application process and how to preference. We'll then look at the intern allocation process, including the ballot process, special consideration, joint ticket, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander intern allocation initiative, and the suitability assessment for groups B to D and some of the pre-employment requirements. So just looking at some of the stats from last year, 836 intern positions were recruited for the 2024 clinical year, and that comprised of 778 general interns and 58 rural generalist interns. 80% were Queensland University grads, 11% were interstate grads, and 9% were international grads. Now, those international grads mainly comprise of Monash Malaysia and UQ Monash. Sorry, Monash Malaysia and UQ Oshner graduates. 71% that started their internship in 2024 were applicant Group A, and 81% were Australian or New Zealand citizens or Australian permanent residents. So in Queensland, 87% of our Group A candidates were allocated to their first preference. That's a really high number. 92 of our international students from Australian medical schools were selected to an intern position. Even more if you include the Commonwealth funded positions in their program. 74 attended one of the 4 Queensland medical schools, and they were predominantly placed at Townsville, Gold Coast, Redcliffe, Mackay, and Ipswich. That's a little bit of an anomaly from previous years. Normally it's more regional facilities, but Gold Coast made an appearance for the 2024 clinical year because we did have quite a lot of withdrawals. Withdrawals are not ideal, but it does free up more opportunities for those in groups B, C, and D. The majority of applicants selected to a position attended schooling in Queensland, followed by New South Wales, Victoria, Canada, and New Zealand, and that's consistent with previous years. 151 applicant Group A candidates withdrew their offer. That's a huge number and the highest number that we've seen probably in the last decade. And it goes to show the competitive nature of this workforce. Everyone's competing for them, and there are, as you can imagine, workforce shortages at the moment. So just moving on. So what's the process? So first of all, we suggest you check your eligibility and you prepare your supporting documentation. Now you can do that by looking at the intern application guide and also the intern recruitment website. You then are required to submit your actual application via the online portal, and offers are released to the general intern Group A candidates, and then offers are released to groups B to D for any facility that has vacancies. They'll look at that pool. Accept your offer. We've got to accept that because we want you to accept. And then your employing facility will contact you to commence the onboarding activities. So looking at the intern application process, how does it work in Queensland? Well, in Queensland, we utilise a centralised e-recruitment system. So we try and make it as easy as possible for you, the applicant. It avoids the need to make multiple applications to different hospital and health services. It's one application and you preference all the facilities accordingly. Obviously, it provides a cost-efficient approach to large-scale recruitment. We're talking over 800 positions, and we've got 20 facilities that participate in the campaign. And it ensures that Queensland Government is able to guarantee an offer to all applicant Group A candidates and meet our obligations. So looking at the applicant groups for 2025, they are identical to the last few campaigns. So we have a guaranteed offer graduate cohort, and that's the definition there. I won't read through it, but essentially they are domestic graduates and they're either automatically allocated to a position or via the ballot process, depending on how they preference in the application form. And then we have our not guaranteed offer graduates. So those in groups B, C, and D. Now they're a really important group. We take a lot of group B, Cs, and Ds every year, and we will continue to do so. This is a definition of Group A. And the definition of groups B, C, and D. I'll just leave that up there for a moment. Okay, moving on and looking at some of the key dates. So Queensland aligns with all other states and territories when it comes to the recruitment campaign. We will open on the 6th of May and we'll close on the 6th of June. We'll have our ballot meeting on the 4th of July. And on the same day, so the 4th of July, the review committee will meet and they will review applications for special consideration and joint ticket. And they'll also look at the applications to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Intern Allocation Initiative. Offers will be released to the Queensland Rural Generalist Pathway and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Intern Allocation Initiatives on the 15th of July. And for all other Group A's, it will be on the 17th of July. Candidates have 48 hours to accept or decline their offer. And then we'll move into the Group B to D offers. So they'll happen from the 31st of July onwards. In Queensland, we participate in the national audit process, which I'll touch on later, as well as the late vacancy management process. So looking at the intern application process, you will need to supply a current email address and telephone number, answer all mandatory questions, upload all mandatory supporting documentation. So what does that look like? Well, here it is, your personal details, contact details, your unique intern placement number, and this number will be issued by AHPRA and sent to your medical school. So for those in Australia, that's a process. For those outside of Australia that are applying to Queensland, you can put NA in that section. You'll also need to put your medical school details, other related education and qualifications if you choose to do so. If you have current or previous registrations as a health practitioner with AHPRA, and a short statement about why you want to work in Queensland, because that assists the hospital and health services when they're doing their meritorious selection processes. You'll also need to submit 2 details of your referees, and I'll get to that as well. Here's some more of the supporting documentation if it applies to you. So evidence of your applicant group status. So your Australian or New Zealand passport or other documentation. Now, this information is all on the intern application guide as well as the intern recruitment website. So if you get stuck, you can always refer to those tools. Your vaccine preventable diseases, VPD evidence, criminal history consent form, and your resume. Now, in Queensland, we have a really cool tool. It's a live position status report, which we refer to as a PSR. So when you're filling out your application form, you can see who is preferencing and where. So, for example, you might be tossing and turning between a couple of facilities. You can see how many positions are available at that facility, and then you can see if it's oversubscribed or undersubscribed, and that might guide your preferencing. In terms of preferencing, we have 20 facilities that participate in the campaign. We Mount Isa, as you can see there, generally have positions only allocated to rural generalist positions. Previously, Redlands had the same, but now they've moved to the General Intern Recruitment campaign and they have 8 positions available. So that's new information and that's fantastic. It provides more opportunities for you. Moving on. So all applicants are required to nominate 2 referees. They can't be your friends. And please ask permission to list these referees. For the intern recruitment campaign, we understand that candidates can get a little bit worried about, oh, I don't have a relationship with a consultant because I'm only a medical student. That's totally fine. Referees do not need to be a consultant. They could be JHO, SHO, PHO, probably more on the PHO scale, and they just need to comment on those abilities listed there. In terms of the process, so once you fill out the application form, for Group A candidates, automatic referee reports are not sent because that cohort are guaranteed. For those in Groups B, C, and D, an automatic email will be sent to your referee to fill out and complete. Once that's done, you'll get a notification and those referee reports will be attached to your application in the system and visible to the recruiting hospital and health services. So this slide's about term 2 or mid-year commencements, and if you do require this, that's totally fine. The hospitals are becoming more and more aware of those that require a term 2 or mid-year commencement, and they've afforded a level of flexibility when assessing these applications. I do want to bring your attention to the bottom point. They're not guaranteed, and they do require the hospital and health services to support the request. So if you do require this, please disclose at the time of application if you'll not be able to commence in January 2025. Now, just moving on to the intern application process, I'm going to quickly look at the clock and see how long I've got. We'll go through the ballot, special consideration, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander intern allocation initiative, joint tickets, offers, and the selection process, as well as a national audit. So at the time of applications, a hospital will either be oversubscribed, undersubscribed, or equal in numbers. Now, if they're equal in numbers and undersubscribed, the definitions are listed there. Group A candidates will automatically be allocated to that facility. If they're oversubscribed, candidates will participate in the ballot process because essentially there's a lot of competition for those positions. So how does the ballot process work? So we get a lot of data once the application closes, and we can look at the Group A candidates and where they've preference. So the ballot process progresses as follows. So the first step is there'll be a random draw from an oversubscribed hospital pool. There'll then be a random draw from the candidate pool, which selected the oversubscribed hospital. The candidate drawn is then moved to the next available preference that has a vacancy, and that process continues until that oversubscribed hospital is equal in numbers. So that might be a bit confusing. So we've done this little graph to demonstrate. So in this example, you can see RBWH and PA Hospital are oversubscribed hospitals. When it comes to the ballot process, there'll be a random selection. RBWH might be pulled. So that's been pulled from the oversubscribed hospitals. We'll then randomly select an applicant Group A that had RBWH as their first preference. They're obviously being balloted. We'll then look at their preference and we'll move them to a hospital that has a vacancy according to how they've preferenced in the application form. And that process continues until RBWH is equal in numbers. So the ballot is run by our unit, which is a medical advisory and pre-vocational accreditation unit. Each year we'll put a request out to the presidents of each school, and we'll ask for a nomination to attend and to observe the ballot process. As I mentioned before, the review committee then meets prior to the ballot, and they'll look at a request of special consideration, joint tickets, deferrals, and they'll endorse the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander initiative, which is what I'm talking about now. So this is a really cool initiative. It's trying to support our First Nations graduates. So eligible candidates will get their first preference. They do need to supply some supporting documentation. Successful candidates are then exempt from the ballot process. Now, this is open to those in applicant Group A or B. So we've recently extended that, which is fantastic. Group A has been our own state domestic and Group B being domestic interstate graduates. So far, we've supported 20 candidates through that process. Moving on to special consideration. If you do have a special consideration and you need to work in a certain area for whatever reason, there isn't the ability to apply it. So you must demonstrate and provide evidence for significant personal or family hardship as a result of relocation. You can make a special consideration to either the southeast corner group or to individual regional hospitals. Now, I've just highlighted Redlands Hospital in there because as I mentioned earlier, they are now going to be part of the general recruitment campaign. So if you do nominate a southeast corner group, you just note that you're not exempt from the ballot process. If randomly drawn, you'll be allocated to an undersubscribed hospital in that southeast corner group. If you are applying for special consideration to an individual regional hospital, those are listed: Bundaberg, Cairns, Hervey Bay, Mackay, Rockhampton, Sunshine Coast, Sunshine Coast, Toowoomba and Townsville, you will be exempt from the ballot process. So if it's approved, you'll be locked into that facility. moving on. So who can apply? It's eligible. The eligibility for special consideration is Group A candidates. And they must have exceptional compassionate grounds or other exceptional reasons that would cause significant personal or family hardship. All requests will be considered by the review committee, and I've mentioned those two last bullet points already. So joint ticket in Queensland, we also have the ability to undertake your internship together. You can apply for what we refer to as a joint ticket. Now, to be eligible, you must be a Group A candidate, meet the definition of couple, and that can include same sex. It must be together for at least 9 months and be graduating in the same year and ready to commence at the same time. As part of the process, you'll need to supply supporting documentation. Both partners' hospital preferences must be identical. Approved joint tickets are not exempt from the ballot process. So if we come to the ballot process and one candidate is randomly pulled, they've applied for a joint ticket, they'll both be balloted together because they've applied for a joint ticket, and what they've considered as most important is that they do their internship together. So just keep that in mind. Further detail, again, is on the intern recruitment website as well as the applicant guide. Just briefly, Group A candidates can also apply for a deferral. So that's essentially saying, I've got a guaranteed offer, I want to defer that for 12 months. There's a process to do that. And generally we see this in cases of maternity leave, as well as a scholarship offer or other compelling reasons. Now onto the applicant Group B to D selection process. It's a meritorious selection process or a suitability assessment. Now, the hospitals will look at their numbers and their vacancies, and then they'll go to the applicant pool and see who's preferenced them first. Normally, they'll look at their first preferences, and then they'll undertake a process. So that normally includes looking at a resume, the application itself, referees, and will often ask candidates to come in for an interview. As I mentioned earlier, formal offers to this cohort will be released from the system on the 31st of July. And that will continue right up until the end of the clinical year, because we do see a lot of movement between the hospital and health services. Now, in Queensland and all other states and territories, there's agreement to participate in the national audit process. So the national audit process essentially identifies those candidates that are holding on to multiple offers. So what used to happen before this process was formalised is that a candidate might accept an offer in Queensland, New South Wales and ACT, and then the information wasn't shared. So come to January or the start of the clinical year or whatever agreement was for that candidate to commence, only one jurisdiction would receive the incoming intern, and the other two were expecting that intern to commence. So it's all about information sharing. It also provides opportunities for those that miss out on internship as well, because it's all about data, looking at that data and identifying multiple offers. Those that receive multiple offers, and that's totally fine, and presumably most of you will apply to a lot of jurisdictions. But just keep in mind that data is shared across states and territories. Candidates that are holding on to multiple offers will they're given 48 hours to make a decision. And that's in fairness to the jurisdictions that really need that workforce. So I'm coming to the end now, and just a final note on registration. So when you are commencing your internship, it is essential requirement of employment that you have provisional registration. For any registration inquiries, we do suggest you contact the Medical Board of Australia or AHPRA to discuss. Now, we do have a campaign website. I have referenced it a couple of times, and this is just a screenshot. So you'll see key information about the campaign, when we'll open. So once we open on May 6th, there'll be a link, and you can access the application portal via that link. And just finally, that's a snapshot of our application guide. All the information I've mentioned today is outlined in the application guide. And if you have any inquiries, please feel free to reach out to us. So I've got our email there, which is intern-recruitment@health.qrd.gov.au. And finally, for me, good luck. I know it can be a very daunting process, but also a very exciting time because you will start employment, and Queensland is a fantastic place to work. So thank you very much for your time.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Shane. It was very interesting. And as Shane mentioned, if you look at the intern application guide, that's got all of the policies on the recruitment process. And we've also got people busy answering those questions in the background for you as well. Okay, so now I'd like to introduce the first of our hospitals presenting tonight. That's Cairns Hospital. Please welcome Dr. Rayson Wang, who is a resident medical officer, and our intern, Dr. Heather McNeil. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm hoping you guys can all hear me. So my name's Heather. I'm one of the current interns at Cairns Hospital, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about internship at Cairns. But I just want to start by saying, packing my entire life up from the Gold Coast and moving from one end of the state to the other to do my internship at Cairns has been the best decision I have ever made in my entire life. And I have about 4 minutes and 45 seconds to tell you guys about why it's going to be the best decision you guys make as well. So if we jump to the next slide, what's listed on this next slide is basically what sums up some of the many strengths that Cairns Hospital has. So the first of which is you are not just going to be a number at this hospital, like you might be at, say, one of the bigger metro hospitals. We're really lucky that we are this sort of ideally sized, larger regional hospital where we are big enough to offer a variety of subspecialties, and some really unique and diverse rotations as well. And I'll touch on those in a little bit. But we aren't so big that you just disappear into the crowd and all you do is admin work. No, 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 no. There is so many opportunities for you to grow and develop and learn and practice that clinical management, develop those clinical junior doctor skills. And I think that's one of the biggest things that attracted me to Cairns, and one of the biggest things that I considered when preferencing in my internship is, where is a hospital that is going to challenge me? Because you don't grow if you don't get challenged. And Cairns is one of those hospitals, and it will challenge you, you will grow, and it does it in a really safe and supportive manner. Another reason I think it creates such a good environment like this is that we only have about 60 interns. So not a really small amount, but not a really massive amount either. And the benefits of that is that I've gotten to know all of my peers. I got to know everyone's names. I've formed connections and friendships with them and support groups. 2, it means that with only 60 interns, our amazing medical education unit, and they are just the most supportive and wonderful people, they actually get to know you as well. They get to know what your career aspirations are, what you're passionate about, and they really try to help you find events and find rotations that are going to get you to where you want to go. And the other benefit of that is our team sizes are a little bit smaller than what you might see at some of the big metro hospitals. And that's great because it makes it a really personal environment. Again, you are not just going to be a number. You get to know your regs and your consultants. You form connections and relationships with them. And it just fosters this phenomenally positive culture at this hospital that it really shows. Like, our seniors are so keen to get us involved, get us learning, give us those opportunities to grow and learn. And that's another really big strength about Cairns, is we have a really strong learning and teaching culture. And I think that's reflected in, we get twice weekly protected intern teaching time / free lunch. Woo! And then on top of that, we also get our departmental teaching, depending on what rotation you're on as well. So lots and lots of teaching and learning. And we have a really, really safe and supportive culture too. And one example of that is we don't just throw you into ward call. We actually have this really cool buddy system for the first few nights that you do it. All right, if we jump to the next slide, I'm not going to read through all these rotations. It's in our frequently asked questions intern document that you can find on the Queensland Health website. But these are just some of the rotations. We've got our staple sort of ED, Gen Med, Gen Surg. We have tons of subspecialties. But one I really want to draw your attention to is our Royal Flying Doctors rotation. And this is like a really, really unique and cool rotation that we have up at Cairns that I don't know if any other hospitals do for interns. Maybe they do, but I don't think so. And it's such a great rotation because you actually get to experience the full breadth of rural and remote general practice, where you fly out for 3 days on these really cool aircraft. and then you'll spend a day on base, and it's a really phenomenal rotation that you don't get anywhere else. So just another reason to consider Cairns. And then if we jump to our last slide, don't be scared about relocating. We have a phenomenal relocation package as well. We get 21 nights accommodation covered, flights reimbursed or driving costs. You get the relocation of your vehicle and all your personal belongings. It was really easy for me to pack my life up and move up to Cairns. Super simple. The other benefits are we have a phenomenal RMO society that has events pretty much every month to get you out, get you being social, and there is so much to do. If you're an outdoors person, it is the most beautiful place in the world to live. There is hiking, there's the Daintree, there's Port Douglas. We have the Tablelands. If you're like me and a mad keen scuba diver, there is the Great Barrier Reef on our doorstep. And even if you're not an outdoorsy person, Cairns is this really unique place. It's a tourist hotspot. So there is so much going on in our city every night of the week. We have many artists visiting, comedians, theatres. You can jump on an international flight to Japan for a weekend. It's a really vibrant city. And with that, I'm starting to get out of breath and desat. So I'm going to hand over to the next hospital. But hopefully I've convinced you guys about the phenomenal experience I've had in my first 14 weeks and why you guys should consider Cairns as your #1 pick on the internship applications this year.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Heather. That was great. Okay, now we're going to welcome Townsville University Hospital. So please welcome Dr. Susanna Bond, who's the Director of Clinical Training, and Dr. Andrew Ridings, who is an RMO or Resident Medical Officer, and our intern, Dr. Kelsey Popham. Over to you.
Thanks, Andrea. So I'm the DCT up in Townsville, and I've got Kelsey with us tonight, who is a second-time intern with us, and also Andrew, who's a PGY2 who did his internship with us last year. So hopefully we can represent what we can offer. Townsville actually is the largest retrieval hospital in all of Northern Australia. So we're a large facility, a tertiary hospital, and of course with that comes so many different opportunities across different specialties and subspecialties. So whether you're interested in a generalist experience and you're not quite sure what your career aspirations are, then we can meet your needs. But if you know what you want, we're very likely to be able to offer placements as early as your intern year so that you can test them out and get to know some people in that field. So there's so many opportunities. It's also an incredibly livable town, a beautiful setting in tropical North Queensland. And there's a nice picture on the screen there. That is real life. Okay, next slide. Thanks. So look, I'm not expecting you all to just read through all of these, but I think what we can demonstrate is that even from your intern year, there is such a broad range of opportunities and subspecialties across medical, surgical, and a good variety of rural towns as well that are within our health service. And so they're not too far away, but you can get that rural experience. All right, I'm going to hand over to Kelsey. Next
Hello,
slide.
everyone. I'm hoping you can hear me. I'm Kelsey. I'm one of the interns starting at Townsville Hospital. I started this year in D, which was a great experience. The team there is absolutely so supportive. As interns, you get to see and manage your own patients under the supervision of the consultant and senior registrars. And most days, there's an actual specific consultant that looks after the intern. So you'll go and actually chat to that consultant about your patients, which I think is something quite unique because it's a one-on-one learning experience. And we also have reserved teaching times with, which is consultant-led in the ED. So that was really good to get that one-on-one time teaching, reserved teaching each week. Currently, I'm on Palm Island. So it's my second term. I'm in week 2 and I'm absolutely loving it. A little site into Palm. So it's SMO run. I'm the only junior doctor over here. Alongside medical students, and I am getting an ED experience as well as a ward experience, and so much exposure. To give you an example, I was called in on Sunday for a reef, so I was involved in that, and then I was able to suture an ear, and then I saw a burns patient like within 5 hours. I had such an incredible exposure, something that I don't think I would have even seen in the Townsville ED, let alone any other bigger hospital. So big fan of Townsville and absolutely loving the experience. And to touch on as well, the medical education unit is absolutely phenomenal. I think it's quite special to have so much support from a clinical aspect, but also from the admin side as well. So they are so great and so supportive. So yeah, that's all from me. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelsey. Andrew, and can we get the next slide?
Hi, hopefully you can hear and see me. I'm Andrew. I'm one of the RMOs in surgery at the moment. I did internship here last year and had such a great time that I decided to stay for another year and probably longer. So going back to like final year of med school, I was thinking, look, I've done a little bit of training in Metro Queensland. I've finished last 2 years in regional Queensland. I didn't really want my regional experience to finish, but I wanted to go to a tertiary hospital. I just wanted to be exposed to some of the more specialized surgeries. And so when I looked through all the hospitals, Townsville was the only one that ticked all the boxes for me. So it has, I think, it has all the surgical specialties under the one roof, plus all the medical specialties. I think it's at the time, and probably still is, the only hospital in Queensland that has that. So last year I got to do a term in neurosurgery. Later this year I'm doing a 6 months in cardiothoracics. So I'm really, really happy with how the medical education unit has sort of facilitated that and make sure that I got the surgical experiences that I wanted. And I don't need to go anywhere. I can stay in Townsville, and the exposure and that you get with the consultants means you're going to build those relationships, get the experience that you need to make yourself competitive when you need to go for PHO roles. And some people will complete all their training up here in Townsville, so you don't need to go back to Brisbane if you don't want to. You can stay in this beautiful part of the country.
Thanks, Andrew.
Sorry, trying to unmute. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. Thanks, Susanna. Thank you, Andrew, and thank you, Kelsey, and thanks for your time tonight. Okay, now it's time to welcome Dr. Stephen Lambert, who is the Director of Clinical Training at the Mackay Hospital, and we also welcome Dr. Georgia Edwards, an intern. Over to you, Stephen.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about sort of Mackay Hospital and Health Service and why it might be a good place to kickstart your career. As an intern, I'm joined by Dr. Georgia Edwards, and got a few sort of questions for her just in terms of her thinking about why she chose Mackay. Obviously, lots of information in terms of rotations and that kind of thing. If you scan that QR code, we'll send you just a couple of sort of newsletters or emails, so about 3 emails just outlining, I guess, the rotations on offer, the experiences of interns here at Mackay. Tonight, I just want to give you sort of 3 reasons to consider coming to Central, Central Queensland, a regional hospital. So on the next slide, I guess the first reason to think about is being a small hospital. The proximity between you and the senior medical officer is pretty close. There's not a lot of PHOs or registrars or JHOs sort of between you and the senior. And what that means is that you can be open to coaching. So if you're looking for a place to develop your clinical reasoning, be really sort of close to subject matter experts, learn how to think like an expert, if you're open to coaching and looking for feedback, then Mackay is probably a good place for you to train. I'm passionate about feedback. It's my mission to make sure that every intern and RMA gets at least 5 minutes of feedback each week, and that we've got a culture of coaching on the job. On the next slide, the second reason to choose Mackay, if you got into medicine, I know this sounds a bit cliche, but if you got into medicine to make a difference to people's lives and to see that difference, Mackay is a pretty small town, and you're going to see the difference that you make in caring for patients here in Mackay, especially as you move between rotations. If you move between some of our rural rotations like Proserpine Bone Hospital, our Mater Hospital, some of our GP practices back to the hospital. Unfortunately, in Mackay, we've got, I guess, a high burden of chronic disease. So that there are patients that sort of bounce in and out of sort of hospital, but you will see the difference that you make to their lives. And if you've got 5 minutes to sit down with the patient and really talk them through their sort of condition and empower them to make a difference to their lives, you can see that difference. The final sort of reason on the next slide is it's a good place to progress your career. So it's easy as an intern to get hands-on, to develop or get the experiences you need to develop your clinical reasoning as a medical officer, get procedural sort of experience, build up your CV, get involved in research, and build up your CV in order to get onto sort of a training program. So that's probably the 3 reasons I'd give you. It's a great place to get coaching, great place to make a difference and see that difference, and therefore to progress your career. We'll just, I've got a few questions just for Georgia, who's our intern. And while we're chatting, you might want to just scan that QR code if you want to get some information about the rotations on offer. Georgia, I'm not sure if you're on. Yeah.
I see it, yeah.
I guess the first question, Georgia, just as you were a med student making decisions about where to choose a hospital, what were sort of some of the factors that sort of weighed in your decision?
I suppose I was really keen to get really good at the basics of medicine, managing the conditions that often present to hospital and getting good at those generalist skills. And I feel like Mackay Hospital is a really good opportunity for that. We have our orthopedic and general surgical department, and they manage lots and lots of conditions that we have here in Mackay. And again, with our medical department, we have lots of general physicians with advanced skills in various areas, but they are excellent at that holistic care of patients who might have multiple chronic diseases. So that was a real value for me. And I was also really keen to be in a place that had a really positive, supportive, and small community culture environment. And I feel like Mackay Hospital ticks all of those boxes. Even on my rotation now, every day we sit down with a consultant, the RMO, the registrar, myself, and we have chats every day after our ward rounds. They give you feedback. They're very friendly. You can approach them if you have any concerns or questions at any time, and you're supervised throughout. They let you lead the consult of new patients under their supervision, which is just such an amazing opportunity to have them there watching you and give you that feedback. But everyone's so friendly in Mackay. People from my last rotation still saying hi in the corridor. It's a really positive learning environment, and who would want to live in a place like this? This is Lambert's Lookout. Beautiful spot in Mackay. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Georgia. Final question is a double barrel question, if I can quick throw that. What's the one challenge you experienced as an intern in Mackay? And with that answer in mind, why would you choose Mackay again?
I suppose I like to do things that challenge me or frighten me, and that sort of helps you conquer those fears. So whilst it is a small hospital, there is very few of you, so sometimes the workload is big, and I feel like learning to prioritize and advance your clinical reasoning and skills and when to escalate is one of the challenges of Mackay Hospital, because we have 36 interns, so quite a few, not too many, sorry, but yeah, that has been a really good growth opportunity for me, and I wouldn't change it, absolutely.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Stephen and Georgia. It's great to hear from you both. Okay, now we have the Wide Bay Hospital and Health Service next to present, that consists of 2 primary allocation hospitals, being Hervey Bay and Bundaberg. So from Hervey Bay, please welcome Dr. John Inderhog, and Director of Clinical Training, and also Dr. Spen Jonas, who is a Junior House Officer. And from Bundaberg, we will have Dr. Vanessa Grigg, who is the Director of Clinical Training, and Dr. Emma Hodge, who is the Wellbeing Registrar. Thank you.
Hi, how are you? My name is John Inderhog. I'm Director of Clinical Training. I've been joined by Rihanna, one of our MEOs, and Spin is also online. He'll be having a chat too. So look, the question is, why Hervey Bay? What makes us different? Because you're going to hear all the other hospitals talk about what makes them unique. But, we're the perfect size. We're an intern's dream. You get all the comorbidities, you get all the complexities, all the patient presentations that you do in a tertiary hospital, except we see them in general medicine and general surgery, and we have to sort them out with, within the resources we have, and also transfer them out. So You don't lose out by not having the subspecialities. In fact, you still see all of those cases, except you're the one who's seeing them when you're on a gen med rotation. You don't need to wait till you're on urology or vascular to get the opportunity to see those cases. As an example, another example, we get all the complexity, as I was saying, from a major hospital. In fact, if you have a multi-trauma that presents in Brisbane, they'll split the patients up north and south. When a multi-trauma happens here at 2 a.m., all 4 of them will end up in Hervey Bay Hospital. We do a lot of procedures here, particularly in EED, and we are very, very keen to get the interns involved. Our interns in the first term this year, they were doing knee aspirations. I had them helping me drain dental abscesses. Unfortunately, nobody had quinsy, but if they came in, I would have shown them how to do that too. So if you want to go on to the next slide. So as I said, we're the perfect size. So we're a large regional hospital, but unlike working in a larger city, we don't have a commute. The longest distance you'll travel to work is 10 minutes. You can choose to leave even closer than that. So you get all that time back, that 1 hour back you travel in the daytime, you get that back in your life when you work in a place like Hervey Bay. We have a flat hierarchy. We are very, very open. I'm going to give a shout out to all the Group Cs. We're very open to Group C applicants, and we normally can find space for you. So just keep that in mind. We, of course, offer a relocation allowance. All regional sites do. And we are very supportive to rural generalist training. But one thing I will point out is we are the northernmost part of the barrier reef without jellies and without crocs. So if you want to enjoy all the wonderful stuff about living up in the far north Queensland and not worry about that, come to Hervey Bay. Now, I'll hand over to you, Spin, if you want, and I'll let you keep chatting.
All right, I'm Spin. I'm a junior health officer here. And I guess for me, touching upon the perfect size, I think in my year there was 15 or 16 interns.
Next slide, please.
So that allows for getting to know everyone. And I think for me, the greatest things about Hervey Bay was, one was the director of clinical training. Like, he's someone who knew each one of his interns. I looked forward to working on a shift with him in the ED. Even if it was a chaos, he was always positive, and he helped you with career planning, and you could always reach out to him. Next, it was the medical education office, with our weekly teaching, and then simulations, and they're just friendly. Rihanna and the rest of the staff, you can always go talk to them about issues. And so much so, both the DCT and the medical education office helped us on, they're great with feedback. I think we were having some issues with some rostering and general surgery, and we went to feed it back to them. And then since then, the whole roster has been changed, and it's led to better working conditions for the interns in general surgery. And I guess I enjoyed Hervey Bay so much that I had some offers from tertiary centers in Brisbane, but I decided to come back for my second year in Hervey Bay. So I really enjoyed it, and I would do it again if I had to start.
Next slide, please. So I will just wrap up and just say, we've asked why Hervey Bay Hospital, but perhaps the question should be, why not? We extend the offer to you guys to come and experience it for yourself. So, yeah, thank you.
Hi, so my name is Dr. Vanessa Gregg. I'm from Bundaberg Hospital. I'm the Director of Clinical Training, and I have with me...
I'm Dr. Emma Hodge. I'm the Medical Education Wellbeing Registrar at Bundaberg Hospital.
So why should you come to Bundaberg Hospital? So again, we're a relatively large regional hospital, and we're offering you the benefit of being small enough that everybody will know your name, and you'll also become an integral and valuable member of the teams. But at the same time, we're large enough to offer a fairly broad range of clinical experience opportunities. So again, I won't read this list, but you can see that as you progress from PGY1 to PGY2 and beyond, so your opportunities will develop. And we have a number of accredited specialist training positions, so you can segue from your pre-vocational years into vocational training very easily. We really pride ourselves on trying to facilitate customized training pathways for all of our pre-vocational doctors. help you to advance in your career from the moment that you begin your internship. So a couple of things to just point out on these lists is you'll notice in PGY1, we do offer some terms that are quite sought after, such as anaesthetics ICU, general practice opportunities, pediatrics. And because we have a relatively small cohort, we really find that over the course of PGY1 and PGY2, all of our doctors will be offered the opportunity to undertake some of these rotations. And in 2024, all of our interns either were given their first preference term or their first preference leave, whichever one they felt was more important to them. We have 16 Queensland Health Intern positions, which includes 5 rural generalist positions, and we in addition have up to 16 private hospital stream intern positions, which are funded through the Commonwealth. So next slide, please.
So because we have a smaller group of interns, it means that we can get to know our interns as individuals and not just a number on a roster. So we really try to accommodate career planning and guidance into a lot of our intern discussions. And that comes with providing personalised rotations, but also providing them with mentors in specialist fields that they're interested in. We have twice weekly education, which also includes career education. So looking at how to decide what specialty might be for you, as well as lots of practical workshops and simulation sessions that really help to build your skills right from day one. We also have promotion opportunities, such as early career advancement to PHO as early as PGY3, which really can help get onto specialty pathways earlier. And we also have a lot of professional development networks, such as teaching opportunities at our Bundaberg campus, UQ Regional Clinical School, as well as through the Regional Medical Pathway and the Regional Training Hub. Next slide. We also have a really strong focus on wellbeing. So my position is one of the only wellbeing registrar positions in Queensland. So with that comes a really strong focus on providing wellbeing education, as well as having a really comprehensive pastoral care program with an open door policy where no issue is insignificant. We generally care as a medical education unit about how all of our interns are going, and therefore have regular check-ins throughout the year, both starting with welcome interviews and also midterm and mid-year check-ins. We also have an excellent supervision ratio, so you get one-on-one exposure between interns and consultants. So you really get some great learning opportunities, and that can really help with building your skills as an intern. And like many of the regional facilities, we have a minimal commute to work, so really great for work-life balance, as well as a very generous financial assistance, relocation allowance, and a really great lifestyle. So there's lots of things to do around Bundaberg. We're also very lucky we're getting a new hospital in 2027.
Next slide, please. So finally, why should you choose Bundaberg? So we'd encourage you to consider Bundaberg, become part of a hospital where your preferences are valued, your growth is prioritised, and your well-being is paramount. Experience a supportive and close-knit community that will prepare you for a fulfilling medical career, and embrace the opportunity to make a real difference in a diverse healthcare setting. And if you'd like further information, please feel free to contact us. Contact details of our Principal Medical Education Officer are on the screen, or otherwise just phone through to Bundaberg Hospital and be asked to put through to the Medical Education Unit. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was great to hear from Hervey Bay and Bundaberg. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so the next to present is Rockhampton Hospital. So please welcome Dr. Sunday Pam, Director of Clinical Training, and also Dr. Colleen Lau, who's a Resident Medical Officer.
Hi, so my name is Colleen. I'm one of the RMOs up at Rockhampton. Bit of background about me is I also did internship here in Rockhampton, and also I was here for the last 2 years of medical students. So I know Rockhampton very well. They're like most of the regional hospitals here. One of the, I guess, the key things is that Rockhampton is the major hospital for all of Central Queensland. So we do see a lot of different cases coming in, and we do manage them before we fly them out to tertiary hospitals. So in those situations, you'll be able to actually see firsthand how we manage them, and also like which ones, how to kind of transfer them into like tertiary hospitals and stuff. Being a smaller cohort, again, there are a lot of opportunities and advantages for that. For example, there are actually a lot of leadership positions that would be good for your CV if you like. So we have the Hospital Medical Society, which doesn't only include the medical doctors or anything. We also include nurses, allied health, pharmacists, and we have representatives from all of those, where every single rotation at the end of it, we'd always organize a end of term drinks for everyone. So you get to actually know a lot of people that aren't only in the medical field, in the medical like field. And yeah, as again, being a smaller cohort, you do have a lot of interactions with the consultants. I have some consultants who still know me by name after a whole year or two, and still say hi to me when we pass by, even though I haven't been in that rotation for ages. Again, research-wise, there are a lot of research opportunities and a lot of opportunities for you to do audits, which would again be good for your career progression. And most departments have like audits that they would want to do if that's what you're interested in. And with the fact that the UQRCS, so the Rural Clinical School, is right on the hospital campus. We have been, as an intern, we've been able to go and help out and teach them, teach them OSCEs or anything, and there's always events there for you as well. And also, a lot of people who come and find out that they have like a rural rotation in the intern year actually don't like it, and then they come back from that rural rotation and really love it, because we have a lot of good and supportive rural places there. We have Dr. Ewan Maffei, who is like world renowned in the rural medicine field, and also Dr. Bruce Chader, who is the head of the rural education in UQ. So you get a lot of supportive opportunities there. And if you are a very outdoorsy person, we have many places that is really good for scuba diving, and like Heron Island, and a lot of good hikes and a lot of good camping places. And I'll just hand it over to Dr. Pam to see if they has anything to add.
Thank you very much, Colleen. Can we have the next slide? Well, these are some of the nice things we can do around here. It's important to know that we have a very wide area from the coast to the hinterland. And our experiences would range from hospital to general practices, small and big hospitals. So there is a wide variety of opportunities to learn. I think if anyone would want to experience internship so that you can have the best experience and then decide what specialty you would like, I would tell you that Central Queensland is the place to go. A very good combination of sites. I think we have fewer interns than consultants. So each intern knows their consultant, and your consultants know you by name. You're not just a number. Whether you're in emergency or you're in general medicine or surgery, your consultants usually know you by name as a person. So that gives you the opportunity to learn properly from the experts directly. We have a large number of PHOs, registrars, RMOs, and so many people who are very willing to teach. We have a lot of opportunities for research for those who like it, and audits. There's a lot of that opportunity. And our well-being program is great with interns. We make sure that we look after your interests as a person, again, not as a number. I'd leave it there for any comments. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. Thanks, Sunday and Colleen. The next to present is Toowoomba Hospital, where we'd like to welcome Dr. Michael Newen, who is a registrar in the medical education. Thank you.
So hi, everybody. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak to you all. I'm Michael. I'm actually an emergency registrar, and currently I have the privilege of working very closely with the medical education unit at Toowoomba Hospital. So hopefully I can today inspire some of you to choose Toowoomba for your intern year and give you some context about the area to showcase the incredible experience it's sort of been for me and why I've chosen to stick around for so long. I just want to talk quickly about the town itself, Toowoomba. The town itself is around just over 100 kilometres west of Brisbane, and it's home to around 110,000 people. There's plenty of places to go out during the weekend. There's lots of wine tasting, great bush walks for those who are keen. And for those who are especially keen, there's also fantastic golf courses that a lot of people enjoy as well. The area is really, really seasonal. So you get to see a lot of sort of misty winters and these beautiful, incredible springtimes, lovely falling leaves during autumn. And the town's often referred to as the Garden City. It's got this incredible annual flower festival that it's well known for, where a lot of people come to the town for in particular, often during September. A great food and wine festival as well. And a large number of parks and regular weekend activities and markets as well that you can go through. There's also great growing sort of cafe scenes and plenty of weekend outdoor activities. So just on the next slide, I've just put up some of the rotations that you will be exposed to when you come to Toowoomba, hopefully as an intern. Just to talk about the hospital itself, the Toowoomba Hospital is one of the largest regional hospitals in Queensland, and it services a really wide area known as the Darling Downs. So we've got a lot of surrounding rural localities that we service a lot of these population groups to, and a lot of surrounding hospitals that also contribute to this as well. We take an intake around close to 60 interns a year, and we'll continue to increase that number next year as well. The hospital itself, the current one that we have, has around 320 beds. And there's actually a construction as well of a new hospital that's looking to open in 2027 as well. Through the emergency department, we see around 60,000 presentations a year, so lots of patients. And these are similar numbers really to places like Ipswich and Logan as well. There's around 2,000 births that we get every year, and there's more than 11,000 operations that are performed in our theatres annually. So great exposure for those who are really surgically inclined, obstetric inclined, emergency inclined, and all these other rotations as well. So there's a huge amount of opportunity for you guys to really grow if you come to Toowoomba, and huge experiences that you can have. We've also got extra rotations available in GP practice as well, rural practice, and we've got long-standing affiliations with services like Lifelight as well. On our next slide, I just want to bring this up. To talk about what I think the best thing about Toowoomba is, and I think honestly the best thing is probably the people and the medical education unit, because they work so closely with you guys and provide you a really individualized experience. So we try to be, innovative with the way we educate people, and we've taken the feedback that we've had from previous years quite seriously. So what we're trying to do in recent years is introduce more innovation to our program. So we started to talk about VR headsets and virtual reality sets in terms of training and procedural skills. And I've started myself, I can talk about some of the education I give myself at the moment. We started to include things to the junior doctor program, which includes simulation training as well, and also training in small focus groups. So for example, recently I've talked about non-invasive ventilation. I've done some workshops on epistaxis management and rapid rhinos, and in a few days' time, I'm going to do some troubleshooting for chest drain education for some of our juniors as well. So ultimately, I think if you're looking for a hospital next year, that you should be looking for a place that's really supportive of you and really wanting to help you grow as an intern. And I think we really, really offer that here locally. And it's certainly the experience that I've had, and many other individuals have had the same. So usually we always call it the Toowoomba trap. You always come, you think you're going to get stay for a very small time, and a lot of people end up staying for a long time because of the support they get and the lifestyle that they can live. So the next slide, really, I've just put up some contact information. I'm happy to speak about Toowoomba Hospital at any time. I've actually left the phone number there for the deck phone that I sit straight next to, so you'll get straight through to me if you like. And there's an email there as well if you want some more further information about Toowoomba Hospital. But I look forward to working with many of you guys in the future, and thanks for giving me this opportunity to talk to you about this.
Right, thank you so much, Michael. Okay, now we're moving down to the Sunshine Coast. So tonight we would like to welcome Dr. Sarah Lucas, who's the Director of Clinical Training, and also Dr. Alison Roper, who is the Director of Medical Services Workforce. Thank you.
Hey, hi everybody. We've actually got Dr. Thi Ong online, who's our other Director of Clinical Training. Tonight we're lucky enough to have 2 Directors of Clinical Training, and the 3 of us work really closely together, supporting our interns. The first thing I want to do is plug our own Sunshine Coast intern webinar. We do find that this is a bit of a rushed session to get all the information across and answer questions that we'd like to. So the link to our webinar is on the slide there, and you will be sent those at the end of tonight's presentations. Or if you have a look on the Queensland Health Intern Campaign website and select Sunshine Coast as one of the facilities, you'll find our flyer for the webinar on there as well, and you can join by the link or the QR code. So it's on Thursday the 9th of May at 5 p.m. So please join us. Next slide, please. So before I tell you all about the wonderful Sunshine Coast lifestyle, I have noticed there's a lot of questions in the chat about Group B to D preferencing. Sunshine Coast is a popular hospital for interns, and we're very proud of that and welcome everybody. We do take 20 or so B to D interns each year, usually. So if you've preferenced us as your first choice, we do run a process where we look at your resume, your personal statement, and then we arrange interviews and have a merit list of category B to D candidates that we can slot in where we have vacancies once everybody else has worked through the Cat A stuff. So do give us a look and consider us for an application. So lifestyle, Sunshine Coast is amazing. It's only an hour to Brisbane, or an hour from Brisbane if you think about it the other way around and want to get away from the city. It's we've got lovely beaches, hinterland, and lots of things to do. I'm going to leave the explanations about the teaching to Dr. Ung, but if we can go to the next slide, please. These are some of the intern rotations that we have. We have a wide selection. We run a very open and fair allocations preferencing process. So if you're accepted and get a position with us, in around October, November, we actually go through a preferencing process where people can select a line of rotations. Those lines will cover off all your training needs and have a nice selection of different things that you might enjoy doing. And we have a panel that looks at those in a very fair way. And our interns are usually very happy with the way that's run. We also have not only the tertiary centre of Sunshine Coast Hospital, we have 2 rural hospitals at Gympie and Mullaney, and a medium-sized kind of regional hospital at Nambour. So we have a really great selection of places you can go. Next slide, please. And we offer a really great and friendly intern experience. I love this picture. This is probably Fun Shirt Friday, or maybe just a normal day in paediatrics. But on the right there is Dr. Sarah Lucas, who's one of our other directors of clinical training, and Nonimi, who's one of our previous interns. And just a quick snap on the ward round, having a great time. And I might hand over now to Dr. Ong to talk a bit about the teaching experience that you can expect as an intern. Over to you, Thi.
Thank you. Thank you, Alison. I just want to touch base on the great things about Sunshine Coast HHS that we can offer, particularly around the protective teaching time for interns. We have 2-hour sessions of protective teaching time, which stretches around the lectures and simulations and procedural skills. And that program has been modified based on the feedback that we got from the intern from the previous years. So it's constantly changing, and we took feedback very seriously, and we modify our teachings based on the feedback that we received from the previous years. And on top of that, we have the state-of-the-art simulation lab it's called Sunshine Coast Health Institute, which we could utilize for our simulations workshop, which was very highly valued by the intern. We also have a very research focus, so the interns will have information around how they can get tap into their research. We have a director for research, and we do all sort of different areas of clinical research and trials, which can be part of that learning and teaching opportunity for the intern as well. And on top of that, we have a very strong focus on junior doctors. The cultures that we have in Sunshine Coast is mainly around the respectful cultures that we try to raise, and all the interns, not just the interns, all the pre-vocational doctors have a very personalized experience, I would say. And we work very closely with the junior doctors as well as the workforce, and any issues around the rostering we could accommodate, and flexible working arrangement. Once you get into the PGY2 and above levels, we can also accommodate. So lots of opportunity, not just in that teaching experience, and also from the wide variety of clinical experience, research opportunity in an environment where the culture is a strong focus for you guys. If you guys want to know a bit more in detail of what we can offer, please come to our site-specific intern webinars. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Alison and Thee. Now we're going to hear from Caboolture Hospital, and I'd like to welcome Dr. Gunjan Chawla, who's the Director of Assistant Director of Clinical Training, and also Tamara Sandifer, who's the Senior Medical Education Officer. Thank you. Over to you.
Hi, my name's Tamara. I'm one of the MEOs down at Caboolture. Welcome. We'd love to have you. It is a great place to start your career. We have a very shiny, wonderful new hospital that we started opening this year. We're currently developing a large chunk of our old hospital. So we have lots of wonderful new facilities to give you a great start to your career as an intern. We've got a beautiful new emergency department. We've got lovely 6 new operating theatres, a beautiful new ICU, and a whole selection of wonderful new wards. We're conveniently located. We're about 45 minutes north of Brisbane and about 45 minutes south of the Sunshine Coast. So we kind of get the best of both worlds down here in the southeast corner, which is a really lovely way to be able to spend your weekend wherever it is that you want to go. Our medical education unit is one of our wonderful selling points. We have an open door, policy, and we're here to meet your needs. We like to get to know you guys. We're a small hospital in the southeast corner, and so we have a lot of time to spend with our interns and give them opportunities that they possibly wouldn't get at bigger centres. You are not a number here, you are a person, and we like to really ensure that that's happening. Our medical workforce unit's here to support you as well, and they will move mountains to help you make sure that you have the best experience you possibly can during your internship year. Next slide, please. We have lots of things to offer in PGY1, some additional things to offer in PGY2. We have some great times for things like pediatrics, obs and gynae, mental health, a lot about internal medicine, fantastic ED rotations, and aesthetics, which is quite sought after. We like to tailor our intern experience to your needs and your career preferences and things that you're interested in. We have a lot of really wonderful, happy interns that, 100% of our interns this year got either their first or second preference. And that's not just their preference of rotation, but also their preference of leave. And
Yep, I think it's my turn now. So I'm Gunjan Chawla. I'm the Acting Director of Clinical Training and a staff anaesthetist here. I'm so very proud of the intern allocations this year, and that's a happy bunch of interns for 2024 who have all been very pleased with their allocations, and then their needs being further met, like people have asked for double ED terms, etc. So when you start your year with us, before you start, you have a very comprehensive week-long orientation. Now, this included in 2024 a full-day ALS course with a lot of support from our medical educators, but also from our nursing education team. And this was hands-on in our education center and utilizing our simulation center. Along with this, there are other practical sessions, including hands-on sessions organized by our pharmacy department, making you confident of your prescribing practices. we've also got things like, the RMOs and previous interns guiding you through the IT systems in our computer lab so that you're familiar with the systems from your first day. Then you go on to shadow former interns. So you do about 2.5 days of shadowing, learn the ropes, and then also get one-on-one meetings with the MEU team, which could be one of the DCTs or a medical education officer, to talk about your learning objectives and what you would like to achieve from the bit about your career aspirations and whether you would like to be attached up to a mentor, etc. One of the feedback that we had was from our 2024 interns saying that their chat with the MEU team during this week actually made them much more comfortable, being very nervous at the start. Can we move on to the next slide, please? So then starts your PGY 1 year at Caboolture Hospital. And as you can see, we are very multicultural. We've got PGY 1 and 2 and so on, doctors from a variety of backgrounds. And yes, we do take a lot of category B to D applicants. Yep, so do apply. During your first year, we offer you a mentoring program. We can connect you to a near peer mentor or someone a bit more senior if you want to be guided along your career path. So we offer you the choice of that. Basically, then we further support you with career guidance sessions provided by the MEU team or your senior mentor. The MEU here, I'm proud to say, is really fantastic, the medical education unit. So we offer 2 formal education program sessions which are protected for the interns, and they're tailored to the needs of our interns and then to the PGY2s as well. So we have simulations in the simulation center. A lot of our sessions are workshops and practical skills sessions or scenario-based sessions. Often they are run by the PGY3 doctors. And then they'll talk about common scenarios in ED, ward call scenarios, met calls, etc., all common and uncommon emergencies, which all make the interns and junior doctors feel very much more confident when on the ward. We rely on your feedback to tailor make our education and training sessions and constantly add sessions depending on the needs that the trainees, the pre-vocational trainees come and put forwards. The medical education unit regularly meets with all the PGY1 doctors. So we have midterm and end of term evaluations. So with these, we want your feedback on your term experience. Is the education program running fine? Are you meeting your learning goals? Are you getting to go to theatre and getting some surgical experience? And we constantly feed this back to your supervisors, improving your term during the term. We also provide professional development opportunities, and this is through participation in research and audit, which is supported by our research and development unit, which will give you a template for an audit protocol, how to apply for ethics and all of that. And the MEU team also support you with these activities. Another form of professional development is that you can get involved with teaching of the medical students or other junior doctors. So yeah, plenty available at Queensland at Caboolture Hospital. Yeah, I see a message there. So we're going over time. Yep, do consider Caboolture.
Thank you, Gunjan. That was great. And also thank you, Tamara. Now we're going to move south of Brisbane to Logan Hospital. So please welcome Dr. Tui Pham, who's the Deputy Director of Medical Services. Do we have Tui online tonight? Maybe not. Maybe Tui's not there. So what we might do is we might just quickly go through the slides. So as it says on this first slide, there are 42 intern positions at Logan Hospital. And they have a lot of medical staff events, obviously very supportive of their interns. They also have protected weekly education sessions. And
Hi there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, sorry about that technical.
Oh, hi, how are you?
Yeah, good. Anyway, thank you. You've added me as a presenter now, so I think I can come off the other setting. So thank you. Thanks, everyone. Good evening. My name is Tui Pham. I'm the Deputy Director of Medical Services at Logan and Red Desert Health Service. In terms of the intern campaign, Logan Hospital is where you should apply. So Logan's a really exciting area. We're really growing. It's growing in terms of residential, Southeast Queensland. The growth corridor is in the south between Brisbane and the Gold Coast. So Logan is a booming area of Southeast Queensland. The area is really multicultural. The hospital is going through exciting times at the moment. We've got a $1 billion investment to grow. And as you can see in the background there, that is the additional stacks on top of our previous building. So we've just recently opened quite a few medical wards. Upcoming will be an expansion of ICU as well. But yeah, as part of the $1 billion investment, there will also be another building in 2026 or so. So yeah, we're growing and it's a really exciting time to come over. We've got a brand new, beautiful medical common room. You'll see a photo later. That's a great place for us to do celebrations. So Logan is a digital hospital. There's a lot of IEMR sites across Queensland Health, and most of you guys are digital natives, so you'll be like totally okay with picking up how to use IEMR and teaching people how to use it before you know it. So yeah, it's a draw card for many people, being able to do digital notes, being able to type instead of write. And yeah, we've been doing that for a while. We've also started MedTasker, which is a clinical task management application that's used for ward call after hours. So yeah, we're all about innovation in the south side, and Logan certainly joins in on that. It's a solid foundation for your medical career. We have a really supportive work environment. Personally, I think it is just the right size. It's like big enough that you can see lots of different specialties, and continuing to grow as well. If you're there for the growth, we will be expanding our surgical services. It's small enough that you get to know people and you run into people at the coffee cart. You're not kind of siloed in all these areas because generally you come across people. We have a lot of social events. So trying to create a community of practice, of the medical society, the people that work in our hospital is really important. Like most places, we offer weekly education, and we have lots of specialty terms, and I'll go through that in a sec. Medical staff events is really important, and we're growing as well in our intern numbers. So we used to have 39 intern positions, and now we're growing up to 42, and who knows, in future there might be even more. In terms of the campaign, we tend to be pretty much bang on with our numbers, sometimes a little bit short, and then we go to the other category, like the interstaters and all that sort of thing. Next slide, please. So the intern accredited terms, as you can see under the Crazy Socks for Docs, which is coming up in June. And again, we're having a huge event there, coffee cart and that sort of thing. So in the medical terms, we have Gen Med, respiratory, cardiology, pal care, stroke, and geriatrics. In surgery, we have general surgery, orthopedics, and ENT. In critical care, interns have access to ED, the adult side, and also anesthetics. ICU is potentially there, although we tend to reserve that for SHOs. And the other cool terms we have are mental health adults. You can also choose mental health child and adolescent, pediatrics, O&G, and we even have a radiology, medical imaging term. So yeah, lots to choose from. Thank you. Next slide. Where to live. So if you like the city life, you can live in Brisbane and you can commute down. Obviously Brisbane's got a great lifestyle, their theatres, the food, the sport. So you can do South Bank, Cooperoo, West End, and you can drive down. You can even catch a train. So Logan Lee Station is where you would hop off. Actually there will be an upgrade to the station as well. So in future, it will actually be closer. So instead of 5 minutes to walk to the hospital, it'll be 1 minute to get to work from the train station. Or if you like Gold Coast and, you prefer to stay on the northern end of the Gold Coast and commute up, lots of people at Logan actually live on the Gold Coast, at Logan Hospital. So you can have a surf between your rostered shifts and you can catch a train, again, from the Gold Coast and come up to Logan. Or you can stay around Logan. So actually some of our junior doctors have decided to move in locally because they hate the traffic so much, and they also just like being able to have time back in their day, avoid peak hour, Logan's growing. It's certainly looking more fun, and lots of local natural things around to explore on the weekend as well. So Logan is also more affordable, which is great. You know, our doctors, our consultants also live locally around the area, having chosen to, you know, buy their homes there and raise their families around here. Next slide. Yeah, so just some photos to show you that there's more to working at Logan. There are research opportunities. Just this week, we had the research symposium, and so some doctors and allied health and nurses and midwives presented their projects recently. That was really exciting. We have a careers evening. Every year we organise this to help facilitate your journey through your career. We also offer career mentoring. There are psychology workshops for exam preparation that also ran recently, where we seek funding to provide that workshop for registrars, but it's open to more junior doctors as well. We have great supervisor support from the medical education unit. It's open to door policy like many places. Our DCT, I might mention, she's unable to be here tonight, but Dr. Sue Shields is probably the longest running DCT in Queensland, having, I think, started in 1995. So super experienced, super supportive. Yeah, so we have medical staff luncheons, we have cultural events. We celebrated Lunar New Year recently with those great line dancers. And you can see there in the other corner, at the top, there's the cake that was for Doctors' Day. That was in the new common room. Unfortunately, you can't see behind all the doctors, but we have these lovely lounges, TVs, computers, printer, everything you can imagine. And in the other corner, you can see we've got the medical workforce team and medical administration services, where I'm based. Those two alpacas, they are real alpacas. That's not fake. So we got Noodle, and I can't remember the name of the other one. But yeah, we celebrate things, and we have alpacas that come along every now and then because they're locally around Bow Desert, which is our other health service. And onto the last slide. We would love for you to join us and start your medical career at Logan Hospital. Thank you.
Thank you, Tui. Okay, we're now moving west of Brisbane. I'd like to welcome Dr. Alaria Karaha, who is the Director of Medical Services at the Ipswich Hospital.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. So look, in preparing for tonight, I asked myself a little bit about why I came to work at Westmoreton and Ipswich Hospital and what makes me stay. And really, for me, it's all about community. So the community of people that we serve, and also the community of committed people that work in our hospitals. So we'll go to the next slide. Thank you. Thank you. So I'll start with the basics, a little bit about Ipswich and Westmoreton. So Ipswich Hospital is our main hub where our intern positions are currently largely based. So we have 40 positions. You'll get to know us and we'll get to know you. We are a large regional hospital, so we've got all of the major specialties that you'd expect for a hospital of our size, including major medical and surgical subspecialties. It's an interesting area, lots of heritage sites. I've been told by many people that it was actually to become the capital of Queensland at one time, sadly lost out to Brisbane. But that means there's a lot of history in the area. And I'm also told that our local theatrical society puts on excellent productions and is looking for people to join all the time. Having said that, we are 40 minutes from Brisbane, so it can be a commute if you choose to live in the Brisbane area, which is also great. Look, the community we serve is generational. So many of the families have lived in the area for a very long time, for multiple generations, and that actually goes for our staff as well. So people often go away and do their training in healthcare and then come back to work at Ipswich. So that gives things a really special feel. In terms of the population, we're the fastest growing in Queensland. We've got lots of socioeconomic disadvantage, high rates of chronic disease, a huge rate of obesity, a large refugee population, and we're also on the Yagara Yugara and Yugarapal People's Land, so we have a local First Nations population as well. Next slide. So what does that mean for you when you're starting your career? So because we're growing, we're actually expanding. We've got new hospital facilities, a brand new mental health unit, and a new hospital that will be opening in 27, 28. So that means that we're expanding our training opportunities, and we're also bringing online new services. So that gives lots of options for you, both in your intern year and then as you progress through your career. So we're currently looking at expanding our accredited training positions into areas like our rural facilities and preventative health. We're very busy, one of the busiest EDs in the state, so you'll never be short of something to do. And as I mentioned, the type of population that we have means that we see a really broad range of conditions and lots of very advanced pathologies. So it's a really interesting place that will give you depth and breadth to your learning experience. So I've said we're small but mighty on the slide. So compared to some of the major Brisbane hospitals, we are smaller, but we do have a lot to offer. And you'll see what some of the other regional areas have said echoed in what I say here. So we do have really close contact with the consultants at seniors, and you'll always be really well supported. Be warned, some of the consultants do have certain requirements like Floral Fridays, where I'm told that flowers are actually mandatory. Our current junior doctors, as recently as yesterday, have complimented us on their positive culture, which really contributes to their experience and why they choose to stay on after their intern year. You can get involved. We have an active Junior Doctor Society, but we're also always looking for opportunities to involve our junior doctors in what's going on. So we have a regular forum to listen to issues, but also listen to ideas of things that we could implement to make the experience better. We also have opportunities to be involved in projects and in quality improvement. From a career progression perspective, we can assist you in getting onto the training program. So post internship, we have stream positions in the SHO year in obstetrics and gynecology, ortho, general surgery, ENT, emergency medicine, and then our critical care specialties as well, and also opportunities to step up early into PHO positions from PGY3. The next slide. Thank you. So I won't repeat what's on the slide there, but I do just want to highlight a few things about our education and training program. So we have a really comprehensive orientation program. We actually extended it to 10 days last year with some really great feedback. That was to allow us to cover more topics, make sure that we were getting in our IEMR training. We are a fully digital site, and also incorporate ward shadowing with the team that you'll be going into. We have 2 sessions per week of protected time. We get feedback after every session, so our program's constantly evolving and changing, and you get your say on what topics you want to cover in more depth as well. And we're really proud of our ward call orientation program. So it's a fully practical and scenario-based program that's designed to help you to be ready for the after hours work. And we're introducing shadowing opportunities as well for those of you who feel like you want a little bit more opportunity before taking that on. And a fabulous hospital at night team who provide really great support after hours, but also education and training on those after hours shifts. So look, I'll finish up by coming back to what I've said about community. So I think there's something really special about caring for people in that defined community, which really gives you a sense of connection to the purpose. And I think a lot of us went into medicine to make a difference. That community feel really extends into the teams that work in our hospital, and we all pull together and work towards the same goals. So we would absolutely love to have you join Westmorton, but wherever you choose to go, I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you. Okay, next to present is Redcliffe Hospital, and please welcome Kirsten Mitchell, who is the Medical Workforce Coordinator.
Hi, everyone. I'm just going to check if Dr. Tom Byrne is online before I start my talk.
Can you hear me there at all?
Yes, Tom, thank you. I'll just chat first and then I'll hand over to you. So I'll just be super quick so you can all get on and join your evening. Redcliffe Hospital is a friendly and very supportive hospital. We try and ensure you have a good work-home life balance, requesting you submit your roster request prior to the start of each term so you can attend important functions. For the last couple of years, Redcliffe Hospital has been undersubscribed with Category A candidates, and those that are balloted to us often request transfers that we always support. This has opened up a number of opportunities for Category B to D candidates, and this year we offered almost all of the first preference Category B to D candidates a position. Redcliffe is a great location, only half an hour to the city. You can live locally near the water. We have a very high retention rate of interns who stay on as JHOs and also as SHOs, where we offer dedicated SHO positions in crit care, O&G, paediatrics, orthopedics and ED. These dedicated positions are only offered to JHOs working at Redcliffe Hospital. I would recommend having a read of our FAQs online regarding the wide range of rotations available, and would also encourage you to review the results of the AMA's survey results for Redcliffe. Over the last few years, we have continued to score the highest in Queensland. You're more than welcome to contact me or organise a visit to attend an education session to meet more of our junior doctors, and my contact details are on the FAQs. But I'll hand over to you now, Tom. Thanks.
G'day everyone. Yeah, Tom here. Just a couple of quick points. As an intern myself, I've spent the last 14 weeks at Redcliffe Hospital. Absolutely love the thing. Can't speak highly enough, particularly our lovely admin staff, including Kirsten. Couple of quick points. I think the culture is fantastic. I haven't met a boss or consultant I can't approach directly or ring, which I think is a credit to the positive environment of the place. Next thing, IMR comes live next month. So again, digital notes, how good, makes your life easy. But that'll be a bit tough for us, but easy for you guys. Thirdly, potentially most importantly, all your overtime's paid. I haven't had any issues with that at all. And I think potentially for some, a very important thing. And lastly, just for some people questioning the commute living in Brisbane, it's been really easy. Traffic's free flowing. There's no concern. Some people do live nearby to Redcliffe and don't mind doing the reverse if they need to come into town for things. But again, yeah, can't speak highly enough of the place, and there's lots of positives.
Excellent. Thank you so much to Kirsten and Tom. Okay, now we're moving on to the Prince Charles Hospital, and joining us tonight is Professor Andrew Teodorczyk, Director of Clinical Training, and Dr. Sabine Kavanagh, who is an intern.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfect.
Great. I've also got Jeff with us too. So I'm the Director of Clinical Training here at the Prince Charles Hospital. We're a 700-bedded hospital. In 2023, we're in the Newsweek Top 10 for Australia. And the terms that we offer are cardiology, geriatric medicine, respiratory, cardiac surgery, orthopedics, PAL care, rehab, hip, stroke, psychiatry, general medicine surgery, orthopedics and cardiothoracic surgery. And interestingly for PGY2, we're bringing in a non-clinical teaching term. Anyway, so why should you work here? We've heard a lot tonight about how everybody offers the right place, the right size and the right people where they are. You need to make your minds up, but I'm going to ask first of all Sabine and then Jeff to talk about their experience here at the Prince Charles. So over to you, Sabine.
So look, one thing I can really vouch for at the Prince Charles Hospital is the level of support that you get right from the get-go. So one of the first things they'll discuss with you is your career goals and your preferences, and they really work hard to kind of get you the terms that will align with where you're trying to head. And kind of longer term as well, there are a lot of different training pathways that are supported by the Prince Charles. And that was one of the things that I personally was really drawn to, and I haven't been disappointed at all.
Yeah, I agree with everything Sabine said. Good day, I'm Jeff, one of the interns as well. As you might be able to tell, I'm not from Australia, I'm from the United States. So I was a Group D applicant last year, and I want to let everyone know, I see a lot of questions in the chat. It's definitely possible to get into to this site to train. I can't speak to other places, but yeah, the medical education unit has been really supportive. They listen, they take feedback, which is something I think is really helpful when you're an intern trying to figure things out. And it really is a great size hospital. You have to think about your career and the experiences that you want to have as an intern. You want to be able to see and do a lot of things, but you also want to have support, and you want to have consultants and registrars who know what they're doing and have knowledge and will support you and teach you. So yeah, the Prince Charles has been great for all those reasons.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, we're absolutely stoked to have both Sabine and Jeff here. They've been fantastic, as of all of the interns. Just to say a little bit more about our culture, if you like. I'm a psychiatrist by background. I think it helps. The intern year is very much about survival, so we have a strong wellness focus. We have regular wellness check-in sessions when we will do, for example, wellness wheels to develop approaches to help you. We work very closely with DHQ and have a strategy that we implement. But importantly, we're always looking for system level solutions to help, whether that's bringing together half days to form a whole day off or otherwise, because we get that there's a system level aspects and we work closely with workforce that will make a difference. So that's the first thing we do. We support you there. We have a great culture of learning. We're always innovating, especially with the new PGY AMC framework, which offers opportunities. We do high quality QI projects, publish with our interns, encourage them to do research, and we have Charlie's Weeks. One of the great things about this hospital is not only is it a good size, but also we've got a good research culture too. And then also we focus on your career and getting to know you very much. So this is a picture on the right of all of the interns graduating. We know them all very well. It's really interesting. They've all made a transition to wearing scrubs, as you can see. We also organise mentors to try and support you throughout your career. Okay, next slide, please. The last thing to say is that we thought very hard about how we want to create the right culture here, and we have what we call the 3C model. So we focus on connections, 1C, compassion, and celebrating. So we kind of believe here that what's going to get you through your year is the connections with your cohort and the supporters around you, and we absolutely build those. But we have a concept called Friends of Prince Charles. So on the slide with myself and 3 others, we have some Friends of Prince Charles, and these are people who don't work at the Prince Charles, but they come and support you. So here's Jen Schaefer or Ken Donald. We have a humanities person who comes and speaks to us. So we connect you with people. Some of you from Griffith University will know Kwong Chan. He comes and speaks to our interns regularly as well. We have sort of a friendship group in the background to support you, and we really emphasize those connections. We also put humanities and compassion at the heart of everything we do. So here's Linda Humphreys in the middle of the sort of pictures there. She's just delivered a session together with the interns on humanities and medicine, which is really important. But if you look at that picture right in the corner, what you'll see is the admin MEO officer supporting an intern actually as well. So we try and practice what we preach. And then lastly, we have a focus on celebration. We have a massive end of year graduation, which is probably as big as your graduation at medical school. Here's Lewis getting his award in particular, and we have a mid-year celebration too. We're also, like I said, always innovating with the FEP, and today, for example, we're learning all about AI and medicine too. But anyway, it'll be great to talk to you personally if you want to come to the Prince Charles, and there's my phone number there at the background. And thanks, Jeff and Sabine. It's been great having you here.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Andrew, Sabine and Jeff. That was fantastic. Now, last but not least, we want to move over to the Redlands Hospital, and they are going to share their own slides. And on the screen, we'll have Dr. Kirsty Lindsay, who's the Director of Clinical Training, and also Mita Palmer, who is the Medical Education Officer. And like Shane said, it's very exciting because next year will be their first year of their new intern cohort.
Yes, thank you very much, Shane, for introducing that. We are very excited to be joining the open recruitment process just while Mita is, starting to share our, can you see our screen?
No, not as yet.
Okay, well, while Mita's trying to sort that. So yeah, so thanks very much. We are very excited. Previously, we've had 5 rural journalist interns and 8 interns who rotate from our partner, Princess Alexandra Hospital. So next year, we're delighted to have our 13, all of them be our very own interns. So my name, as Shane said, is Dr. Kirsty Lindsay. I'm the Director of Clinical Training for Redlands Hospital. And Mita Palmer is our Principal Medical Education Officer. Okay, so, fantastic. Nearly there. Okay, so Redlands Hospital, just get Mita to finish that. So Redlands Hospital, so we're last but not least. We're small, but we are beautiful as well. So we're a digital facility and we're based in the southeast corner on the coast in the beautiful Moreton Bay area. Next year, we'll have approximately 240 beds. And as I said before, 13 interns, 5 rural journalists and 8 open recruitment. So what does that actually mean for you as interns? Well, what it means, if you come and work for us, you won't be getting lost in the big machinery of some impersonal system. You'll enjoy a very personalised approach to assisting you navigate that first year of being a junior doctor. which can sometimes be a bit tricky. The medical education unit, we've got close working relationships with all of our interns. So slide 2, please, if we can do that. Next slide. So why consider us? Well, your well-being is of utmost importance to us. We understand to have happy, well patients, we need happy, well doctors. And we believe that we can support your well-being as interns by providing the very best work-life balance opportunity for interns in Queensland. We believe interns are human too. So as an Outer Metropolitan Hospital, we've got ready access to the city. Brisbane, 40 minutes, Gold Coast, 50 minutes, whilst enjoying all the regional like living opportunities such as easy access to beautiful beaches. There's a picture here of Stradbroke Island. We've also got an award-winning winery, Siramet, on our doorstep. And both of these you'll have plenty of time to, an opportunity to experience because of the excellent working conditions and working hours at Redlands Hospital. So next slide, please. Can we move them along, Mita? Sorry, as I said, we've just got the green light to join the open recruitment yesterday. So we cobbled this together today. So if we can't go to that next slide. So, okay, so, well, why come and work with us? So what about the work aspect? We said, you know, the work-life balance, and we very much believe that your well-being is pivotal to your internship. So we would collaborate with you. You can help us craft longitudinal programs over the first year and the second year that will not only meet the requirements of the new framework, but also your career aspirations and any of the special interests that you have or special needs. This is supported by a 2-year opportunity to have a 2-year contract with us across your PGY1 and PGY2. We might post this later if Nita can't get the screen up again. So our rotations are, if you can't see the screen, for PGY1, general medicine, general surgery, emergency medicine, pediatrics, mental health, obstetrics and gynecology, and anaesthetics. And yes, interns do anaesthetics at Redlands Hospital. Our interns report that their clinical experience is very hands-on. They get to do lots of stuff, and our evaluations year after year you know, reflect that. So why Redlands? Well, as I said before, you'll enjoy the great working hours. There's 30 hours a week as in your award if you're full-time. There's no regular rostered overtime, and there's very little unrostered overtime. And we too have a great culture where it supports payment for all your confirmed overtime. And that is important, that if you do work, you get paid for it. We've got a supportive culture. As a smaller facility, you'll work in smaller teams, so you've got a close working relationship with your consultants. You'll get the chance to experience out-of-hours learning opportunities by working evening shifts and weekends. But the bonus absolutely is you will not do any night duty or any relieving terms as an intern. Broad general clinical experience, as I said, is a must at Redlands Hospital. We have a diverse and inclusive workforce, so therefore we welcome applicants from A, B, C and D and encourage that. So I guess if you want to live in South East Queensland and you want to enjoy both life and work as an intern, then please consider applying to work with us. Our contact details are in the frequent asked questions, but I would encourage you, if able, to either visit personally, come see the site, speak to our current interns for their intel, and I'd love to buy you a coffee. And if you can't come in person, please give me a call or Mita. We're happy to discuss further details. So thank you very much. And yeah, we're excited to meet our new interns for next year.
Great. Thank you so much, Kirsty. And thank you for presenting. We know it was very last minute, so we're just glad that we could have you tonight. Okay, now, due to the time, we won't be able to have question and answers with the audience. There's also been about 300 questions. So the best thing for us to do is to collate all of these questions into one document, which we will then share with all of you. So every single person who registered tonight will get a copy of the recording. They'll get a copy of links to individual hospitals' videos. They will get copies of the presentations. So we'll include the Redland presentation with that one as well. And you'll see the answers to all of the questions that were asked tonight. There was a very diverse amount of questions, so it will be very interesting to read. So thank you to all of the presenters for such fantastic presentations. It's going to be a very hard decision about where to choose to do your internship, but it is great to hear what makes you live, where you live and work unique, and hopefully it has inspired a lot of you to start thinking about where you want to go for the upcoming campaign. Okay, so on behalf of North Queensland Regional Training Hubs and obviously all of the Queensland Health teams, I'd like to thank everyone once again. A special thanks to the Queensland Health Recruitment team for being so generous with their time. And if you have any additional questions after this evening, please email the Queensland Health Intern Recruitment team by email at intern-recruitment@health.queensland.gov.au. And we will also be sending out a copy of that Queensland Health Information Guide. Now, also, before we go, I'd like to invite you to join us for our upcoming webinar episodes, including Powerful Personalities, How Your Traits Impact Your Medical Journey, and that will be held on Tuesday at 6 p.m. And then next, obviously, we'll be then going on to have the RMO and Registrar information session, which this audience probably is not interested in, but other people will be. And then lastly, this one is for everybody, a wellbeing checklist for medical professionals, and that will be held on the 21st of May at 6 p.m. So registration is essential for these webinars. So if you haven't already, please visit our website or you can scan the QR code on the screen. And thank you once again for attending the 2025 Queensland Health Intern Information Webinar, and I hope you all have a fantastic night.